dominated that lobby. I mean, they took a ton of kills along the way into the top 5. So congratulations to them for likely finalizing, you know, their spot for the finals on week 3. But yeah, a lot of teams now on the bubble that weren't there before, but Serve's team, like you said, now stands as the metric for success. Again, we're just looking for top 15. The top 15 teams will make it to the finals in 2 weeks' time. And next week, we'll find another 15 teams to join them for the finals. So let's see. We're dropping into the 5th map, 5 maps out of 6, and we're hopping in with our last map winners.
I got bumped.
Heading right over. Immediately landing on the rooftop, looking towards the skyline, live pinging, calling out the comms, trying to figure out where neighboring teams will land. They can keep up that pacing and the aggression that they set in map number 4 for that victory to start off strong over here at Seaside. Now, Goj, I went back and looked. Yes, Serve has that threshold of 15th place, but it's a 9.75 average to maintain top 15 right now.
Great shout. The average continuing to be stretched just slightly. 8 to 10 was what we were expecting, and we're just barely still inside. We'll see if maps 5 and 6 will stretch it beyond that. But yeah, you're right. In 16th place is 2.4 points behind Serve, with Serve only a 1.8 points behind FaZe Testy. So a very tight spread there for the teams on the bubble, and those are the teams we want to make sure that we're watching, make sure we're keeping their eyes on, because of teams like Tommy, who just won the last map, teams like Pentagon and Fuzzin, who, by the way, didn't win the last map, but still dropped a 37-point game. They have definitely made their way to the finals. It's the teams, basically anyone from about 10th all the way to probably 30th that could still technically either lose or gain a spot to the finals.
This is a really efficient loadout for them, relatively uncontested. Yes, they have players nearby that they'll be able to full send after this, but to not be contested off drop is the smoothest way to ensure success and consistency in these 6-game series. But jumping on over to see what Chronicle squad is up to, and well, looks like they have no issues grabbing an early loadout for themselves as well.
Yeah, this is kind of the classic gameplay loop that we've been showcasing here on main stage, is get your loadout as fast as possible. Sure, some ground loot weapons are great. They're definitely not going to be as good as your loadout if you have any sort of efficiency of building them, which I'm sure all of our Warzone competitors do. We're going to be using the Swarm, we're going to be using the Ram, we're going to be using some of those kind of main weapons, those meta weapons that we talk about and your content creators are always pushing for you to watch the videos on. Yeah, go check them out, because these weapons are different on the map. And when it comes to Warzone, when it comes to Warzone competition, if you're not using the best weapons, that quite literally could be the tiny fraction of difference between you and your opponent. So you've got to always put yourself on at least the even playing field, at least as close as you can against some of Warzone's finest.
Good comms there. Already sitting on 2 eliminations will be Chronicle, the squad in 12th place thus far, but we immediately jump back to your map 4 victors, and hey, at least we're having a chuckle about it. Tommy completely down and out. Nobu's Spartan squad has moved in to send that squad to the gulag.
I think there's this like never-ending like friendly beef between Tommy and Nobu, where they basically just call each other trash, which really only works one way. Even though Nobu's an incredible competitor, to call Tommy trash is kind of a joke at this point. But yeah, it's some friendly banter. They are friends to some degree, and they do get full team wiped. Again, it doesn't end up really moving the needle much for Tommy's squad. You'll likely see them restabilize though, and maybe find their way to 15th or so in this map. We'll see. Who knows? They could even go back-to-back if they're able to get their loadout yet again. But we'll continue to check out some of our teams kind of near the bubble, or at least close to it. We've got Legend of T on main stage here, grabbing some information gathering tools. That is the UAV. Massive meta on the side of Customs is trying to figure out where the rest of the teams are. UAV is a great way to do that. Now, Jaff in trouble. One teammate already fully eliminated, and the other one in the gulag. Sinful on the other side, but Jaff is able to win it just barely over the side of Bagel, and a big win to get back into this map. That was a little bit of a precarious situation. You never want to put your teammate in a position where if they lose their gulag, you lose the whole map.
Ooh, a team we haven't yet seen on our broadcast thus far. It's going to be IQ playing alongside VonBot and Ryda. They got a little bit of a skirmish going on, and VonBot and Ryda both increasingly low, and the comms come through. As soon as that squad is able to take down one, they're like, oh, dude, that's Huskerrs. So, hey, trying to make that regain is going to be a little bit tougher for Team Tommy.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is a squad that has moved into the bubble. They're 18th place overall, only 29.1 points, but that's only about 9.9 points away from that bubble team in 15th place. So definitely within striking distance, but they need a good one. Ryda actually played with IQ in the World Series of Warzone stages, made it to stage 2, ended up not having a great performance, got 34th in stage 2. So this team has played together before, but adding in Vombot as the trio, who also had some success in World Series of Warzone, playing with some different teammates, this trio really has a large amount of kind of weight on their shoulders of being able to qual. There's been several people on the timeline. I kind of asked on Twitter who people thought would qualify, and there were several people, including Ebates, who was like, hey, watch out for Ryda, IQ, and Vombot. Really think they're going to do well today. Unfortunately, so far, they're just outside of making finals. This is kind of the game they need to start making a move and push into the top 15 and then try to protect that position.
Definitely those bubble teams keeping an eye out. Booyah immediately hits the redeploy, and here comes Swagg to join him alongside. Pens wins out on that gulag against Zank. So Team Savvy Ultras might be in a little bit of a blender, not a blender on the leaderboard, finding themselves in 6th thus far, but just trying to keep that momentum moving forward. Swagg in 17th place, but 2 eliminations at the hands of Booyah, so they just need to keep the pacing moving forward. They know where Super Ev, Brax, and DJ Moss is, at least for the time being, thanks to that bounty.
Yeah, it seems like potentially this squad actually had a rules violation in the first map, which netted them 0 points, so probably one of the reasons they're just outside of the margin. They still have a chance to qualify even with this 0-point score in the first map. So a massive boon for this trio to be able to push the equation on this one, creep into the top 15. We'll see.
Incoming mortar will give them information of where teams are engaging, and if they can kind of get situated here, they could look for a nice 3-party action. I just meshed 3rd party and 3P in my brain. Dude, Dandro and I were hammering down on the comms earlier on, and you try to abbreviate everything for brevity, then my brain does it here. Checking in with Quirky.
I'll just start speaking in acronyms for everything, every call out we can come up
Please
with to make it as quick as possible. And I did get confirmation, by the way, it was just Booyah's points that were taken away, a total of 0 points for Booyah for a rules violation. But regardless, still a little ground to make up. Swagg's on 17th, but we're continuing to pop between some of these teams on the bubble. Showstopper had a little bit of some decent success in World Series of Warzone, but so far in trouble. Robstar, Quirky, a fantastic EU trio that just hasn't been able to put everything together to make it into the finals yet. 22nd right now, and with 1 down, lacking some advantage. They're starting to play a little bit slower and are going to make sure they can't get flown on. This is kind of a classic strategy. Take out some of those redeployed drones so that you don't see a team fly at you using the zips, especially when you're down in numbers. But as we head to the gulag, Showstopper would love to win this one and is able to do so just with the molly. All it took was a Molotov cocktail. Showstopper's going to be flying back in and hopefully can get some information for the team, and they need it quickly. Quirky in trouble. Robstar is being hunted, and this is likely the team hunting them. Nice answer back from Rob. Can he get the 2-piece, though? Quirky and Rob have a chance here. Quirky grabs 1. Robstar on top. This would be a massive win to prevent a team from grabbing cash by taking out Rob, and also grab some early eliminations that are definitely well needed when you're in 22nd place.
When you're in 22nd place, the last team you want to run up against is going to be Rated & Co., but they've already dropped at least Mayapo, and they're situated here on the regain. Robstar does not go down here. He gets a good reset, and they've got their eyes on where they think that next player is, and the positioning here is going to be critical.
Yeah, they warded off the advances of Rated. Rated's team, likely after losing 1, like you called out, backed off because, well, they don't need this position. This is edge of zone, and the bounty expired, so there was really no boon to go after this team, especially when Showstopper came flying back in and they were down on numbers. So a smart team backs up and still holds this squad, and they know it. UAV popped. Here are those players popping up on the UAV, red dots on screen. Now the advantage on the side of Showstopper, Robstar, and Quirky. And Showstopper is finally able to grab some loot, so he can make a play here with his duo. Looking for the sewer rats. Where are they? How long will it take to find them? Rated goes down. There he goes. Rated was calling other people rats, and now he's the rat trying to hide out for his team. But unfortunately, Rated is out. The squad on your screen has a chance to make it to the finals. Rated squad doesn't need this map. The squad on your screen definitely does.
Still at least one more member alive for Team Rated, and the ability that Team Quirky has had just kind of moving through their rotation towards that next zone and approaching every engagement that they've come across is really fluid right now, and they do need every bit of that consistency. But Robstar had a very long day, played with Angelica in the Urzikstan Trials tournament 2v2 today, and the grind isn't over. The job's not done. We still need to work our way into the finals for 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, and I give a shout to Enigma, who was casting that tournament, who will actually be joining us next week and into the finals. Enigma was saying Robstar had a great showing in Trials of Urzikstan earlier, so hopefully he can kind of keep up some momentum or rebuild it back up. But Rated quickly grabs his win in the Gulag and says, fine, yeah, no problem. I'll win my ones and I'll get right back into it.
Sometimes it's all it boils down to, just winning those ones. But for IQ, 18th place, 29.1 points. Double res to the right sounds like a really nice moment in this map to capitalize on. Just need to get everyone on the same page of which teams they want to focus.
I'm gonna see where the zone goes. If it pushes up this right city, let's just go up right and we can swim after.
Some comms flying back and forth about where they're going to rotate to, and I think what they're doing, this is kind of classic strategy. If you've got some cover in your inside zone, wait just 5 more seconds before moving. Know where the zone is going to go, so you know the correct rotation. They see the zone, and it sounds like VonBot kind of taking a little bit of charge when it comes to IGLing of where they should go and how they should get there, and unfortunately, it looks like they're getting caught in that rotation. Maybe knew there was a team close, maybe didn't know how close. Smokes provide a bit of cover, able to get to some walls, get to some buildings. They should be fine here. A little scary for a second. And there's a chance they might be getting chased here on this wide rotate. But a smart move and a great call out by VonBot to make this rotation with cover on their side. And with a long way to go, they needed to start early. So a big move and a great call by VonBot.
Honestly, sometimes just focusing on your positioning and letting those kills come can be the more vital move, but it sounds like they've got teams that are hitting the redeploys and rotating throughout. Seems like a little bit of a missed opportunity, but at the end of this engagement, all you have done is given away your position and you didn't net any eliminations from it.
Yeah, especially rotating into a POI like this that has so many buildings. You kind of hate to give your position away this early. I don't know that I love that call out from Q to try to shoot somebody down off the zip. Maybe if you turn faster, you could have gotten one and it could have been worth your time, but now they are in trouble. Mortar strikes and everything in between falling upon them. Bullets raining from the skies above because, well, some teams rotated just a bit earlier than you. Maybe they started here. Regardless, they're here already, and you're trying to make your advances in. You give up your position, they're going to be looking down on you, and you have the disadvantage. It's going to be a tough fight to take. I think they're smart enough to know they need to move, and here they go.
A little similar to the last rotation that we had witnessed, but this is why you got to keep your smokes up. IQ notoriously throwing out 2 for every engagement, whether it's to hit a res or to hit a rotation, but just really stacking throughout. But the bullets are flying, and so far they're still able to navigate into the safety.
Yeah, and again, this is the team that's sitting in 18th, and without an elimination outside of Q, I believe we saw the leaderboard. I think they had 4 or maybe 5 total. It's not awful in terms of where they are on the map. There's still 23 teams left, especially if they can set themselves up for in-game well here and pick up a couple more. Even just a 16 or a 20-point win or a 20-point game, if they can grab the 1.7x to top 5, is enough to put them into contention for qualifying for the finals. So I'm not too worried about this team potentially playing too slow because they already have 5 kills, and that's why they're kind of taking their time to work their way into zone and set themselves up well for in-game.
And it's so crazy that we're even saying that IQ is on a bubble team. I mean, IQ has been competing since Verdansk days. Won the Twitch rival 75K back with the Rays and Ebates back in the day. But keeping that momentum, now that we're here into Urzikstan and facing elimination to finals, well, this is going to be a very vital fight. Stacking the nades and stacking the smokes and just trying to stay alive. But you can see the gulag is going to close and we already lose out on one, but just pushing forward. IQ and Ryda together, trying to find this elimination.
Smart move by IQ to back up and not take that fight when a player goes up the stairwell and they're not weak. It's just so difficult to win that fight coming up the stairs. IQ with enough movement to get out of dodge and somehow stay alive, not knowing where his aggressor was. Really tough position and not a fight I would have recommended taking, but maybe one they took out of necessity. They needed some kills. IQ only grabbed one out of that and lost both of his teammates for it before the gulag closed. They maybe could have taken the fight if they hadn't been there already, but it closed right as they started it. As the gulag closed, they lose both teammates. IQ all alone, and he knows there's a team at this portable buy. This is going to be very tough to grab this buy, and maybe can do it inside the zone. Here we go. Somebody's going to be here. Are they on top of the buy? No, but he gets one off. Yes, they were. They just couldn't find him fast enough. Loses his life, but gets a buy. Only a couple eliminations to boot, but the team is still alive.
Just a little bit of that revive blender. PD able to grab that elimination, but checking in with another one of our teams that are trying to get into that top 15. Well, it's going to be Twitty, Lightspire, and J Devise. Twitty already navigating the kill grinding, grabbing that nuke the moment the Champions Quest dropped, and now just wanting to find themselves in that 150K finals 2 weeks from now.
This team is currently sitting in 21st going into this map. Another team on the bubble, still within striking distance, but running out of daylight. Only one elimination on the side of Lightspire, but the team might have a couple again. We still have 20 teams left now. Make it 19 teams left. Because of this zone, there is so much cover that a lot of teams can survive into the 5th and 6th circles, but quickly that number will drop by probably double digits here in the next 2 to 3 minutes at most. You're gonna see a lot of team fights activating, and if you've only got 5 or 6 kills like this squad, your goal is to get inside the top 5, but also find some more eliminations. If you can get into double-digit eliminations and get that 1.7x multi, you're going to be setting yourself up well to qualify for the finals. It's exactly what this team needs.
I don't know.
Or maybe this one. Yeah, let's try to get to that building.
Okay.
Let's try to get to that building. Go down.
Okay.
I like the comms,
I'm going.
right? Like, that's not a bad building to go through. You can see the mosquitoes on the mini map that are nearby that will give you information on where other teams have kind of situated themselves. And, well, most of these buildings will likely not be free, especially with 17 squads up, but they seem to have found a little bit of consistency on the lower floor here, but shots erupting all around them.
I'm blown away this building didn't have somebody in it. It just means there's a bigger layer cake happening somewhere else, or maybe some more fights on the edge of zone. We're down to the final 15 teams. Brolic, Lola, they've crept their way into the top 15 just barely. They're in 11th place overall, but a chance to go back-to-back big maps. Got top 3 last time. This time in similar position to do so again if they can make it to this next zone. Unfortunately, there's a wall. There's a bridge. And there is no gas mask to be found, and now it's just wide open spaces. There is no way they make it out of this one alive. Just an incredibly difficult rotation that maybe, just maybe, they can last a couple more spots, and it doesn't look like it. Fully eliminated. They did make it to the 1.3x multi. If they had a decent amount of kills, maybe could maintain their position inside the top 15.
That was so tough. She just wanted to get behind the crane, but just dived short of it. And Nurse Raquel's team, Foulnets and Devo are just lying there, ready to grab those eliminations. All teams trying to fight into that top 15. And the fact that Twitty, Lightspire, and Devise have stabilized inside this building, yes, that next circle pops, and we've got a rotation for the ages on our hands. But OP marked.
Whoa.
Solo Warlord in a bush nearby.
Tiff, there
looking
are
to ruin some games.
He's ruining some games. There's still 12, now 11 trios alive in this tiny circle. It is about to be chaos, and if you don't have player advantage, you're going to be on the short end of the stick. OP Mark goes down, still inside the top 15, likely overall on points, but is cutting it close if he can't stay alive any longer. Legend of T is up on top without a kill to her name, but the team might have some as all three are up. This is Sailor Kevy with Regiment still alive, and as T tries to make the rotation, immediately gets cut out of the air by Zlaner down below. Destroy, Zlaner, and Raul have been making waves throughout this entire tournament and been ruining people's games. 7 trios left. People are getting cut down left, right, and center.
Look, Nurse Raquel, their team needed this. Coming into this game, they were sitting in 24th place with 21 points. Does get dropped by Pentagon, but you look back to the issue. Is Devo, our foul net's still up and at him?
Yeah, we know it was that.
Well, Magoo
it said
is
Smith,
so.
Sunday. That's why they were confused.
Nice clean wipe right there, down into the top 4 squads, and want to focus on plating it before having to get back into zone.
Well, Magoo playing with FaZe, Testy, and Youngsters. This is a team that really needs to do well in this map. They were near the bottom of the leaderboard. Inside, I believe they were in 20-some-odd place before. Now they've crept up into, I believe, 14th overall. So right on the bubble, but it's not going to matter. We swap POVs. We jump slightly forward in time. And Pentagon, Fuzzin, and Melvin have finally netted themselves a victory. They were in top 3 going into this map. And with a 34-point game, they have certainly booked their ticket to the finals with only 1 map to go.
Well, that's exactly what you needed to do, especially when you basically guarantee yourself a chance to play for 150K. And granted, all 30 teams that make it to the finals will net